What happens after January 19th if you lose this case? Can you just spell that out?
At least as I understand it, we go dark. Essentially, the platform shuts down.
Unless there's a divestiture.
Unless there's a divestiture, unless President Trump exercises his authority to extend it by night. But he can't do that on January 19th. On January 19th, we still have President Biden. And on January 19th, as I understand it, we shut down. It is possible that come January 20th, 21st, 22nd, we might be in a different world. Again, that's one of the reasons why I think it makes perfect sense to issue a preliminary injunction here and simply buy everybody a little breathing space.
I think Congress and the president were concerned that China was accessing information about millions of Americans, tens of millions of Americans, including teenagers, people in their 20s, that they would use that information over time to develop spies, to turn people, to blackmail people, people who a generation from now will be working in the FBI or the CIA or in the State Department. Is that not a realistic assessment by Congress and the president of the risks here?
Well, Your Honor, I'm not disputing the risks. I'm disputing the means that they've chosen. One way, the most direct way to address that, all of this user data sits on data servers in Virginia controlled by Oracle. I'm not talking about the National Security Agreement. What I'm talking about is a law that simply says to TikTok Incorporated and its U.S. employees, you cannot share that user data with anybody. You can't give it to ByteDance. You can't give it to China. You can't give it to Google. You can't give it to Amazon. You cannot give it to anybody under threat of massive penalties. They never even considered that most obvious alternative.
The law doesn't say TikTok has to shut down. It says ByteDance has to divest. If ByteDance divested TikTok, we wouldn't be here, right? If ByteDance was willing to let you go and willing to let you take the source code with you, that would be fine, right? We would not be here.
Well, Your Honor, if ByteDance divested, then the law wouldn't fall on TikTok. But the law, not ByteDance.
But that's because of ByteDance's choice.
The underlying source code, it takes a team of engineers to update and maintain that. It would take us many years to reconstruct a brand new team of engineers to do that with respect to the source code.
It's not that you couldn't execute the disentanglement. You could say, we're independent. You just can't recreate TikTok in any kind of way.
Well, I think that any new TikTok would be a fundamentally different platform with different content, which is yet another reason why I think this is a content-based restriction that falls directly on TikTok Incorporated itself in our platform.
The problem I think you're articulating is that you want to use ByteDance's algorithm and therefore associate with ByteDance, and Congress has prohibited that.
We want to use the algorithm that we think reflects the best mix of content. That's the algorithm that reflects the best mix of content. What this law says is we can't do that unless ByteDance exercises a qualified divestiture. But I also think more directly what this law does is it says to TikTok Incorporated, if ByteDance doesn't exercise a qualified divestiture, you have to go mute. You cannot speak at all.
No, I don't think it says that, though. I mean, if TikTok were to post-divestiture or whatever, pre-divestiture, come up with its own algorithm, right, then when the divestiture happened, it could still operate. It doesn't say TikTok, you can't speak.
I think that's theoretically correct, Your Honor, but I think that also underscores the content-based nature of the restriction.
No, but the fact that that's true suggests that you're wrong about the statute being read as saying TikTok, you have to go mute. Because TikTok can continue to operate on its own algorithm, on its own terms, as long as it's not associated with ByteDance. So isn't this really just all about association?
I'm not talking about the content manipulation. I'm talking about the content harvesting.
When you say content harvesting, do you mean people's data?
They've got all the information, whatever algorithms they want, that has access to the personal information, or at least information that is not readily available, about 170 million Americans. And whether they're going to use it in 10 or 15 years, when those people grow up and have different jobs in different places, or whether they're going to use it now, that, at least as I look at the congressional record, is what Congress was concerned about.
Well, I think
and they're not concerned about the fact that it is available. As I said, the remedy is just somebody else has to run TikTok.